knew that Alaska has the biggest mountain was that when I lived in Washington as a weird mountaineer, it's like it's the largest mountain in the
Yes. Yeah.
Please don't tell Alaska.
Yeah, well, there's always some kind of like, we're the largest in this very specific area. Okay, so this one's, we're doing a lot of math. Okay, everyone welcome Emily. Emily's new to our class. So we are going to go a little bit over, this is a lot of stuff that we went over last week with the occupancy, RevPAR, and ADR. So we'll go over a little bit more of a review as we go through this. But let's jump into chapter 3. Okay. Okay, I'm actually gonna go backwards a little bit, okay? So what we have here on this worksheet is essentially a very, very basic star report, okay? So star, which is this first one right here, oops. STAR stands for Smith Travel Research, but it's referred to as the STAR report, okay? So a lot of hotels pay for their STAR report, okay? So they give Smith Travel Research all of their data. They tell them, this is in this month, this is every single day, this is what our occupancy was, this was our average daily rate, this was our RevPAR. They give them all that data, right? And then Smith Travel Research compiles it and then is able to interpret that data. Source Strategies is another organization. They donated, actually, it's in the closet. I probably shouldn't record this, but I will, whatever. I don't know how to interpret those books. And so I've actually asked them to come in. There's so much data in those books that I'm like, can you just come in and be a guest speaker and show my students how to interpret this? Because for me, I can't. It's just, it's beyond what my level of understanding is, right? But they're the same type of company as Smith Travel Research. So hotels will pay to be part of that because in giving my data, in return, I'm going to get other hotels' data, right? So I'm paying for that kind of a subscription type, right? And so we have what is called our comp set. Okay. And comp is short for competitive. Okay. So these are the specific hotels that I'm in direct competition with. Okay. We talked about comp set a little bit last class period about how it can be based on location, the level of service, the type of hotel, even the brands, okay? And so the comp set, we identify which hotels we want data from. I'm not gonna get data from every single hotel in San Antonio. I'm only gonna get data of how my hotel compares to my comp set. And that's who I, as a hotel, have identified who is in my comp set, okay? So these are all a variety of different people who collect that data. Okay, so now we're gonna get into some math, okay? I'm gonna talk about each one of these and then I'm gonna close our PowerPoint and I'm gonna pull this up so that I can write directly on this on the screen, okay? But if you look at column number 3 on the worksheet, okay? Column number 3 is our capacity market share, okay? Column number 3 is our capacity market share. Now, if we think about this particular image as like a pie chart, for example, okay? This hotel is going to have this percentage. We might have another hotel that makes up this percentage of our market. And then we might have 2 other hotels that make up this percentage and this percentage. Okay, so we have a capacity within the entire market. Okay, and so we're gonna go this together all at once. Okay, but if you look at column number 2, those are all the rooms that they have in each hotel. Okay, and so if everyone got their fair share, then we are looking at a percentage of the overall market. Okay, and then that's going to determine, let's say, for example, this looks like it's about 33%. Okay, this is about 33%, the red one. Okay, now if I look at the actual data, okay, so after this is what I should get if everyone gets their fair share. If I look at the actual data and it turns out that I got 37%, that means I got more than my fair share, which means one of my competitors did not get their fair share. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what we're looking at in columns 1 through columns 5, is that capacity market share and the concept of the fair share. Okay, so in column number 5, we're looking to see, does the percentage match the percentage in number 3? And if it does, or if it's higher, that means I got more than my fair share. Okay, then we're going to look at penetration indexes. Okay, so this is comparing how our hotel did to the average of all the hotels. Okay, so if you look on our worksheet, down here at the bottom where you see market averages, okay, the bottom of the market averages, we're going to find the average for occupancy, ADR, and RevPAR. Okay, we're going to find that average for each category of how the overall market performed. And then the penetration index is what we actually we compare our percentage to that average. Okay, how did we perform compared to that average? Okay, so let's just jump right into it. That's it. Okay, let's jump right into it.
So I've always heard businesses
Okay.
when you're doing these KPIs or whatever, is there certain information that you're just never going to be able to have because it's protected in some situations?
That's a good question. I don't know if companies that are like publicly traded, if that means that the shareholders have access to that data, or if it still is protected. That I don't know. But that's a really good question, is who has access to this data? Where am I going? Let's see, revenue management, unit 1, chapter 3. Okay, spoiler alert, the backside has all the answers. Okay, so you can compare, but don't look at those answers yet now. Okay, don't look at the answers. We're only going to the blank side for right now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, for the interest of ease of writing, I'm going to go ahead and stay at the computer instead of writing up on the board. So I'm going to stay behind my computer for a little bit. Okay, so on your notes page somewhere, if you would like to do this, okay, what we're going to do is, for number 3, annotate. Number 3, column number 3, okay? The way we're going to figure out column number 3 is we're going to take the hotel's rooms divided by the total market. Okay, the hotel rooms divided by the total market. Okay, and that's going to give us a percentage. So what we first have to do is add up how many rooms we have in the total market. So how do we do that? Yep, we're going to add up all these four numbers right here. 250, 200, 195, and 200. Okay. Let me make this even just a little bit bigger. Okay. Are we good so far? We got 845. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to divide each hotel's number of rooms by that total. Okay. So for example, letter C, or for column number 3, for hotel A, we would do 250 rooms divided by 845. Okay. And it's going to give you a percentage with 1 decimal place. So 29.6%. And then we're going to go ahead and do it the same thing for each one of the following. Okay. What? Oh, I know why. Shh. All right. So 250 divided by 845 is 29.6%. Okay. And then 23.7 and 23.1. Okay. How can we test? How can we check our work in this regard? Good. Check out all these, add them up to 100. We look, I know it's very hard for you to see, but they're very, very bottom. I highlight it, bless you. And it says sum 100%. That means we're in good shape, okay? So if we were to take this into consideration, that means Hotel A has 29% of the rooms in the market. Hotel B has 23.7 because they have 200 of the 845. Hotel C has 23.1 and Hotel D has 23.7. Okay. So that's the percentage that they have of the rooms in the hotel or in the market. Okay. Now, to get column number 5, we're going to do the same thing, except this is actual data. This is actual rooms that have happened. Okay. So we add those all up. And during January, we had 25,125 rooms sold during the month of January. Yep, for all 4 hotels, we had 25,125 rooms for all 4 hotels. Okay, that's the total in the market for the month. Yes. Okay, and then just like we did to figure out what their capacity market share is, we can look and see Hotel A sold 7,650 of those 25,000 rooms, right? So we do the same thing, 7650 divided by the total rooms, and we get 30.4%. We see how that works? So go ahead and do that for hotel B, C, and D. So now, just looking at this particular snapshot, okay, which hotel did not get its fair share of rooms? Hotel B, okay. They only, in actuality, they only got 22% of those 25,000 rooms, right? But if everyone got their fair share, then that means they should have had at least 23.7%. Okay. Which hotel did the best? Okay. So let's look at this. Hotel A, the difference is, what is that? 0.8. Okay. So 0.8, 0.5, and 0.2. Yep. So Hotel A did the best. They captured the most of the largest percentage of those 25,000 rooms. Okay. Now, that's just one piece of the puzzle. Now we can break it down from an occupancy and an ADR and RevPAR perspective as well. Okay. Now, if we look here, can we only base this room revenue as Hotel A performed the best? Exactly. They have 250 rooms to sell. So, of course, they're probably going to have more in revenue than, like, let's say Hotel C that only has 195 rooms, right? So let's take a look now at our occupancy percentages, our ADR, and our RevPAR, okay? Occupancy percentage. For a refresher, how do we figure out occupancy percentage? Good, okay? So it's the rooms sold divided by the number of available rooms. Okay? Rooms sold divided by the number of available rooms. So if we take a look at this, for Hotel A, okay? Hotel A, how many rooms did we sell? 7,650 rooms is what we sold, okay? How many rooms are available? Exactly, okay? You see how we have 250 rooms right here? I'm just trying to move it away so we don't have, so we have 250 rooms. That's in one day. Since we're in the month of January, how many days are in the month of January? 31. Yep, you have to know how many days, Have to know if it's a leap year. Is there 28, 29 days in February, right? So you have to know exactly how many days are in that month. And so let's go ahead and do that. So our occupancy percentage well, 250, there's 31 days in January. So since this is so if you look at the top, it says practice January. So that's why we have to do 21 days or 31 days. If we were looking at, oh, no, yeah, exactly. That's 250 rooms in that hotel. Yep. Okay. So then Hotel B, how many rooms are in Hotel B? There's only 200 in Hotel B, right? So in that case, 200 rooms times 31 days. And then how many rooms did they sell? 5,535. You see where we get that number? In column 4, we sold 5,535. By 31. Well, that was the number of days. So that would give you the number of like how many rooms you sold per day. But we have how many, the formula is rooms sold divided by the total available rooms. That's why you have to multiply the number of rooms we have in the hotel times the days of the month. Okay, so in this case, oops, what is 31 times 200? 6,200, right? So this one would actually be 535 divided by 6,200 rooms. Okay, because we have that number of rooms available in January. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay, go ahead and figure out the last two. It does matter if they don't reach their fair share, right? Because we want everyone to meet their fair share. What's going to happen is once we look at this other data of occupancy, ADR, and RevPAR, it might tell us why they didn't meet their fair share, right? So it may be that their ADR was too high, and our other competitors, their ADRs were more achievable, and so that's why people didn't come to us; they went to them, right? So what we're going to see is the occupancy, ADR, and RevPAR in that penetration index that we calculate for each one. It's going to tell us a story as to why we did or did not meet, get our fair share of the market. Yep. No, it's. I mean, you as it depends on who the revenue manager is, but I mean they get really competitive with each other to be like, I want to be the best one, I want to have the best market share, I want to have the best ADR in the market, right? And so it really kind of just depends on the situation. But those penetration indexes are going to help us tell that story about why we did or did not get the market share. Okay, so let's double check our answers. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, so let's say that again. You do the 7650 divided by 250. Yeah, so what you want to do first is the 250 times 31 is 7750. Do that first so you know, and then you can divide 7650 divided by 7750, and it'll give you the percentage. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So you can do it like you see right here when we have up here on the screen. This is for Hotel B. You can write it out like this, the number of rooms sold divided by 200 times 31, and then go ahead and do this and then convert it into this so you can actually see what numbers you should divide. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns about occupancy percentage? The homework. Yeah, it's this exact. Oh, so for you, like you're getting the right answer or the wrong answer? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, you could do it that way. Yeah, you can. It should work that way as well. So if you did 7650 divided by 31 divided by 250, yeah, it's the same thing. Absolutely. Okay, so now what we want to do is find the average, what the average occupancy percentage was for the market. How do you find the average of anything? Yep, the total divided by the number that we had, right? So our average, you see down here, market averages, okay? We're gonna do all four of these. And then we divide by 4 since we have 4 numbers. We're adding, right? And that gives us our, excuse me, gives us our average percentage. Okay. We good so far? All right. Now here's the occupancy penetration index. Okay. In this case, we are comparing our hotels to the average of the market. Okay. So in this case, we're going to take 98.7 for Hotel A, and we're going to divide it by 95.8. Okay. So we're going to get this 98.7 and we're going to use this 95.8. Okay. We have 103.03%. Okay. Yeah. So it's the hotel occupancy percentage divided by the market average. Okay. And you're probably thinking, Ms. Juminski, how do we have 103% of anything? Okay. That means we exceeded the market average. Now we can look at that and say 98.7 is higher than 95.8, right? We can see that. But in business, we like to use percentages because it shows us how far over we went. In this case, we were 3% higher than the average. Okay. So let's do the same thing for the next 3. So now we're going to do the 89.3 divided by that same 95.8. Okay, that denominator stays the same. The bottom number stays the same of 95.8 in all of these. No, you're good. Well, I have that because that's the way Excel is set up. Now, usually it's just one decimal. Yeah, it was just one decimal. Now with occupancy percentage, this kind of mirrors our market share. Okay. Of course, A had the best occupancy percentage. It had its most market share. Okay. Followed by hotel C, D, and then B. Okay. That deals with how full our hotels were. Okay. Let's look at ADR. Are we good with occupancy? No, it doesn't matter if it reaches 400% or not. I don't think it would. I mean, I guess since there's 4 hotels, you could add it up, but in this regard, I guess in this case, you could do that to double check your work. The biggest thing is that if this percentage is higher than this percentage, then your number should be over 100%. Okay. So average daily rate. How do we calculate the average daily rate? ADR equals nope, not that one yet. No. So average daily rate is our total revenue. So our total money divided by what? The rooms that were sold, just the rooms that were sold. Okay. So just the rooms that were sold. So for hotel A, we would do 1,012,500 and divide that by the 7,650 rooms that were sold. Okay. Divide that by the 7,650 rooms that were sold by that hotel. You can check your work either on the back of the page or you can check it up here on the screen. The first one, yep. $132.35 was our average daily rate for Hotel A. 155 was our ADR for Hotel B. 140 for Hotel C. And 161 for Hotel D. Okay. To do our penetration index, again, we're going to compare each hotels to what? The average of the market. So how do we find the average of the market? We add up all of these, and then we divide by the number that we have, which in this case is 4. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and compare it just like we did the occupancy percentage. We're gonna do 132.35 divided by the market average of 147.15. Okay. Yeah, so we're taking the average daily rate of each hotel and dividing it by this market average, okay? That will tell us how close above or below we were from that average of the market. So let's just look at real quick at occupancy and ADR. Hotel A had the highest occupancy percentage, but they also had the lowest ADR, which means the rooms were cheaper, so more people bought them, right? But let's take a look at Hotel D. Not only did Hotel D perform above over 100% on occupancy in the penetration, they also were the highest. So they had the highest average daily rate, and they still got more than their market share. And they were still above the average of the average occupancy percentage. So whatever Hotel D did in their strategy, it worked, right? We might look, oh yeah, Hotel A made $1 million in revenue. Hotel B made 967,000, or D made 967,000. Hotel A outperformed Hotel D. But if we look at the actual statistics and the key performance indicators on occupancy and ADR, Hotel D right now is in the lead, okay? But we have one more KPI to look at, and that's revenue per available room. And what is the purpose of revenue per available room? How does that differ from ADR? Yeah, we divide by the total number of rooms in the whole hotel. So our RevPAR is typically higher or lower than the ADR. It's typically lower than the ADR, okay? Because it also puts all of our hotels on a level playing field. Right now, we're looking at Hotel A and Hotel D as which one performed the best, right? Well, Hotel A has 250 rooms and Hotel D only has 200 rooms. They're automatically operating at a loss because they have 50 less rooms to sell, right? But when we look at our revenue per available room, it's going to level out the playing field because that way it takes into account the revenue of 250 rooms times 31 compared to the revenue divided by 200 rooms times 31 days. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's look at our RevPAR. For Hotel A, our revenue per available room, so we take our revenue divided by the 250 rooms times 31 days. Same thing for Hotel B is our revenue, 857,925 divided by 200 rooms times 31. All right, so then after we get our rev pars, 130.65 for A, 138 and 38 cents for B, 137. You see how this kind of brings them all a little bit closer together, right? In the ADR, 132 and 161 is $30 difference. When we look at it from our revenue per available room perspective, it brings it down a little bit, okay? Especially looking at from hotel A to hotel B, at our ADR of 132 compared to 155, that's a difference of, what is that? $23. Well, when we look at it from our revenue per available room perspective, it's only a difference of $8. So it puts those hotels with different number of rooms on a level playing field. Okay. So we add up all of those and get our average of $140.66, which is our average for all four of these, the average revenue per available room. Okay. And then our penetration index, again, we take the hotels divided by the market average. Okay. Hotels divided by the market average. So now looking at our revenue per available room, comparing everything as we analyze this data, which hotel performed the best out of the four? Why Hotel D? Well, they didn't have the most revenue, right? Hotel A had the most dollar amount of revenue. But why, looking at this data, at this information, why would Hotel D be the one that performed the best? We were above average on all different penetration indexes, okay? We also, Hotel D earned more than its fair share of the market, or at least its fair share, right? So we didn't dip below our fair share. We at least got our fair share, but at the same time, we were also above average. Now, were we the best in all of them? No. We weren't the best in occupancy, right? Hotel A beat us there at 103, but their average daily rate, they didn't meet the market average, bless you. Their average daily rate was 90% of this 147. So then it makes sense why they got so many rooms, because they were the cheapest option. So probably a lot of people booked them, right? When we look at this, what's that? They had more rooms to book. Yep, absolutely. And then we also look at this revenue per available room, and Hotel D was the only one that performed above the market average of RevPAR. Okay. They all were in the 90s, right? So that's good. But Hotel D performed the best because they were the ones that exceeded that market average. Okay. So this is what the revenue manager is looking at. This is the actual data. Okay. We've forecasted what our goals are going to be. Now, again, this is also very determined on what our goals were to begin with. Okay. If my goal for Hotel A, my occupancy goal was 92% and I got 98%, I'm above my goal, right? I maybe am not the best in the market, but at least if I'm at least meeting my own operational goals of ADR and RevPAR, that's great. We also have to be able to explain why our report is the way it is. Okay. So there may be times where, for example, let's say we way overexceed our budget of what we planned for. Perfect example of that would be in 2021. Does anybody know what happened in 2021? in San Antonio in March and April. We had the women's Final Four, right? And originally we were supposed to have the women's Final Four, just those last 3 tournament games, the semifinalists and then the final game. Well, what happened in 2021? What was happening in 2021? The pandemic, right? And so they brought the entire tournament, not just the Final Four, not the final 3 games. They brought the entire women's NCAA tournament to San Antonio. They played games all throughout San Antonio. They played games up all the way as far as north of San Marcos in different stadiums, but the entire tournament. So now hotels were thinking, well, first of all, in 2020, they were planning for 21. They're like, we're going to have the women's Final Four during this weekend, right? And then the pandemic happened. They're like, well, crap, we're not going to have that level of revenue. But then, no. Now we're going to have the whole tournament, not just one weekend. Now it's going to be over a specific, like a longer period of time, right? And so it was really interesting that I think it'd be interesting to go back and see what actually happened to from the budgeted numbers to then what actually happened. Or if what happened in 2020, we budgeted in 2019 for the year, and then the coronavirus pandemic happens, the world shuts down, nobody's traveling. Of course, I'm not going to meet my budgets, right? Of course, I'm not going to meet those levels. So you have to be able to take the data that you have, interpret it, and tell your ownership, tell your management company, this is why we met it, or this is why we didn't meet it. You have to be able to justify that. Okay, so real quick, any questions about these? Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick. Let me see if I can time myself. This is why, if you know Excel, this is a great opportunity for, if you don't know Excel, this is a great opportunity to learn it in different ways of how you can use it. Okay, I'm going to time myself. See how long it takes me to do all of that information that we just did. Stopwatch. Ready? Oh, wait, any guesses? Any guesses on how long it's going to take me? 5 minutes? Okay. 1 minute, 30 seconds? 3 minutes? 3 minutes. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oops. Now I'm nervous. Occupancy rate is equal to that divided by that. Oh shoot, April, May, June. Dang it. How many months? Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Come on. I'm wasting time. Hey Siri. How many months? Oh, let me Google it. Dang it.
It's nice to meet you, David.
No, it's not nice to meet you, Siri. You're messing me up. 91 days? Thank you so much. Okay, 91 days. I should have done that before. Okay, so look, so I do that times 91. Equals the average of those equals that divided by that. ADR equals average divided by the rooms sold. Equals that divided by that times 91. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If you know Excel, then you can take, of course, there's programs that you can get data that from all this information, right? But you know, there's still something that to be said about utilizing Microsoft Excel as a way to kind of calculate. This is something that you can do. I had a hotel that I kind of shadowed one night, the night audits had been about, you know, I don't know, about 8 or 9 years since I'd done a night audit. So I went in one night to shadow their front desk before I started talking about it in front desk class. And they had an Excel sheet, but it was all messed up because their formulas were all messed up. And so I thought it was really interesting. Like, you know, if you have it, you still have to be able to understand how to put it in. I'll put the data in and everything. But yeah, that took me 2.5 minutes to do what exactly we did. Now, granted, we were teaching along the way, but if we look at this now, look at our penetration indexes. Let me highlight them. Okay, we can see which hotel performed the best in occupancy was Hotel B at 105% of the average. Okay. Oh, C, I'm so sorry, 106, thank you. 106 of the average. Hotel D was the highest at ADR. And then revenue per available room is Hotel D again, okay? And so by looking at this, yeah, they had the lowest occupancy, but like somebody told me one time, ADR and RevPAR is the money that you take to the bank, right? It's the money that you take to the bank. In the occupancy, you may not have the highest occupancy. Your rooms may not be filled, but like we talked about last class, right? When you have that occupancy, every time we sell that room, that means we have to clean it. We have those variable costs. So if I can still have a high ADR and a high RevPAR and not have occupancy, that means I don't have to clean those rooms, which means I don't incur those variable costs, right? And it also depends on the hotel and the goals of the hotel. I had a friend one time, we went to a luxury boutique hotel for a field trip. One of my friends is the director of sales. And one of my students asked, you know, would they ever consider dropping their rate below a certain point? And she said no. She would actually rather sacrifice occupancy than sacrifice ADR. Because once you drop your rate below a certain rate, it's going to attract a different clientele. And she's like, we don't want what they call soccer moms and ice chests rolling up through the lobby. Okay. Now this was pre-pandemic. Maybe their tune has changed since then. And they just want somebody in the hotel. They want money, but they don't want soccer moms and ice chests because the other guests that are paying a higher rate maybe don't necessarily want to share an elevator with an ice chest and a mom that and a family. I don't want to say just a mom, but like a family that has 3 or 4 kids trailing behind them. Okay. Especially in like a luxury boutique setting where it's usually people go to escape, people go to, you know, relax, and it's a little bit quieter environment. They don't want kids running around or kids screaming in the room next door, those types of things, right? If you drop your rate so low, then it could attract a different type of guest. Now, not to say that there's anything wrong with those guests, it's that it's just not the right hotel, right? We have specific hotels for a variety of different types of guests. That's why we have so many different brands of hotels, because each brand attracts a different clientele. So at some point, this is money that's in the bank. And if it means that I have a lower occupancy percentage, well, then if I'm still performing above my competitors in that regard, then it may be okay that I didn't. Now, if we look at our room share, let's look at this. No, I don't want that. I want that one. No. There we go. Okay, so in this regard, 23 and 28, only Hotel B and C got their fair share of the market. Hotel A and Hotel D did not. Okay, because their room nights are higher, their percentages, and these are lower. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns about that and how we take that data and how we interpret it?